The environment is the sum total of all external conditions, influences, and forces that affect the life, development, and survival of living beings. It includes air, water, land, flora, fauna, and the intricate ecological relationships that bind them together. For centuries, human civilization lived in relative harmony with nature, drawing resources sparingly and respecting the regenerative capacity of the earth. However, with the advent of industrialization and modern technology, this balance was increasingly disturbed. Today, environmental issues occupy a central position in public discourse. For the simple reason that the health of the planet directly determines the well-being of mankind. Air pollution is among the most pressing challenges of our times. The uncontrolled release of smoke from factories, exhaust from motor vehicles, and burning of fossil fuels has led to the accumulation of harmful gases such as carbon monoxide, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matter in the atmosphere. These pollutants not only degrade air quality but also cause respiratory ailments, cardiovascular diseases, and even premature death. In large cities, smog has become a common phenomenon, reducing visibility and endangering public health. International studies confirm that air pollution is now one of the leading causes of mortality worldwide, a silent killer that respects no boundaries of wealth or geography. Closely linked with air pollution is the problem of global warming and climate change. The excessive emission of greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide and methane, traps heat in the atmosphere and raises the average temperature of the Earth. The consequences are profound and wide-ranging. Melting of glaciers, rising sea levels, erratic rainfall, prolonged droughts, and the intensification of storms and cyclones. Nations located in the tropics, including India, are particularly vulnerable to these climatic disturbances. Farmers face crop failures. Fishermen struggle with changing marine patterns, and millions risk displacement from low-lying coastal regions. Climate change, therefore, is not merely an environmental issue but a threat to food security, economic stability, and human survival. Water pollution is another grave concern. Rivers, lakes, and groundwater reserves have been contaminated by industrial effluents, untreated sewage, and agricultural runoff containing pesticides and fertilizers. The pollution of the Ganga, Yamuna, and other major rivers in India has drawn the attention of policymakers and citizens alike. Polluted water spreads diseases like cholera, dysentery, and hepatitis, and destroys aquatic life. Clean water, once considered abundant, is fast becoming a scarce resource. According to recent reports, several major cities may face acute water shortages within the next decade if urgent corrective measures are not taken. Deforestation adds yet another dimension to the environmental crisis. Forests are often described as the lungs of the earth, for they absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. They also provide habitat to countless species of plants and animals, maintain soil fertility, and regulate rainfall. Yet, vast tracts of forests are cut down every year to make way for agriculture, mining, and urban development. This not only accelerates climate change but also threatens biodiversity. The extinction of species is irreversible, and once lost, the delicate web of life cannot be restored. India, with its rich natural heritage, has a special responsibility to conserve its forests and wildlife. The problem of solid waste management further complicates the environmental picture. Modern lifestyles generate huge quantities of plastic, electronic waste, and other non-biodegradable materials that litter streets, clog drains, and pollute land and water. Plastic, in particular, has emerged as a menace, as it does not decompose for hundreds of years and enters the food chain through microplastics. The sight of animals feeding on garbage heaps or marine creatures entangled in plastic debris is a grim reminder of the careless manner in which humanity treats its environment. Effective waste segregation, recycling, and reduction in single-use plastics are essential steps to address this issue. Environmental degradation also raises questions of social justice. The poor and marginalized are often the worst sufferers of polluted surroundings, degraded land, and lack of clean water. They live in areas most vulnerable to floods, heat waves, or industrial accidents, yet have the least capacity to cope. Thus, environmental protection is closely tied to human rights and equity. This principle remains a guiding light for policymakers across the globe. In the final analysis, the environment is not a separate entity to be exploited at will. It is the very foundation of life on earth. The air we breathe, the water we drink, and the soil that nourishes our crops are all part of the same interconnected system. To endanger the environment is to endanger ourselves. Future generations will judge us not by the monuments we built or the wealth we accumulated, but by the care we took of the planet we inherited. Therefore, the call of the hour is to live more responsibly, consume more wisely, and act more compassionately towards nature. Only then can we hope to secure a sustainable, just, and healthy future for all.